Still focusing on the final rallies, the economic freedom fighter is also holding its final rally for the August 3rd local government elections. This at the Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. Our reporter Aldrin Sampear is there covering the story for us. Good morning, Aldrin. Could you give us the latest as far as the EFF rally from where you are currently standing?
Well, we continue with our coverage of the final push for the elections. We continue with our coverage of the final elections, final rallies rather, heading up to the August 3rd elections. And right now we are at the Peter Mokaba Stadium where the EFF is holding its final rally. And as you can see, this is a 40,000, more than 45,000 actually, capacity seats. And the EFF members have been making their way through to the stadium. And remember that the last time that we saw the EFF fill up a stadium, which is a bit smaller than this one, was at the London Stadium, which is about a 40,000 capacity seat. They filled that stadium, and this time around they're promising nothing different. Well, we have to wait and see if the stadium will be full to capacity and whether that capacity will translate into votes. But right now I'm joined by the Deputy Secretary General of the EFF, Hlengiwe Hlophe. Very good morning to you. It's a bit of a cold morning, a bit of a chilly morning, but I see EFF members making their way through to the stadium.
Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. Yes, it is cold, but EFF members are here in numbers already to come and celebrate our 3rd anniversary here in Limpopo.
Why specifically Peter Mokaba Stadium? What makes this stadium so special?
No, Peter Mokaba, do you remember that Peter Mokaba was the president of the Youth League of the time, and he was very radical, and we have learned a lot from him. So we are very proud that we have taken a decision to come and celebrate our 3rd anniversary here under Peter Mokaba Stadium, which is an honor to him.
Well, one thing that sets Peter Mokaba Stadium apart from let's say the Orlando Stadium is that this is a 45,000 capacity seat compared to the 40,000 capacity seat that we saw in Orlando. Do you think that you'll be able to draw in those crowds, that you'll be able to fill the stadium to capacity?
Definitely yes, we are going to fill the stadium as we did in Orlando. Remember, we have been traveling all the country without fail. Our first anniversary took place in Gauteng, and it was full to capacity. The last one, which was last year, took place in Northwest. It was full to capacity. And this one, we must make sure, because it also serves as a Tula rally, which is our last rally towards elections. So we have mobilized, and our fighters are going to be here to celebrate with us and to say we are going to win on the August 3rd.
And the significance about the Northwest as well as Limpopo is that after the 2014 elections, he became the official opposition in those two provinces. Do you expect the numbers to be growing in those specific provinces, including probably across the country?
Exactly. And you must remember that we have all the representatives in all provinces. Even in KZN, we have 2, except here and Northwest, because we're official position. And we're expecting to grow everywhere, because this movement is growing in a fast rate.
One of the decisions that the EFF took at its list conference was not to make public its mayoral candidates. It hasn't decided on its mayoral candidates. And the question that I asked to Julius Malema, the commander-in-chief of the party, is that whether that is not a detriment to the party, considering if you look at the ANC and the DA, they are competing in the big metros based on the faces of the people that are putting forward. Like right now, we just had an interview with the mayoral candidate of the city of Tshwane for the ANC, and yet we do not know who the mayoral candidate is for the EFF.
Remember, we don't do things like in the ANC or DA. We do things differently. We are putting up our list, and we have put all candidates that we think are very proper. And after we have won as other municipalities, that's where we are going to announce our mayoral candidates. So it's not our priority on us as the EFF, but just to have those people with capacity to lead those municipalities.
Another thing taken at the list conference was the zebra approach as Julius Malema speaks of it, and that is 50% women, 50% male, and he says that if there's more women, let it be, but males must not exceed 50%. Should we expect the same thing when it comes to if the EFF win any metros, if it wins any municipalities, that there will be that same approach?
Yes, look, right now in Northwest, the chairperson of Northwest is a female. In Free State, the secretary is a female. So we have capacity to to give you a very, very, very good comrade who are female who's going to lead our struggle. Yes, indeed, if we win municipality, if we have a family candidate that we think is very proper and is is going to take us forward, we are going to make them mayor's candidate.
And the other issue is around what happened in the city of Tshwane. You had one candidate who has been expelled by the IEC, by the electoral court as well. What does that mean for the party? Is that a blow at all?
It's not a blow because it's a wake-up call to all our structures, especially if we have said you must go and represent us. We must be careful of what you are saying when. So that's why our structures and the police and the commander-in-chief was said to you guys, no, we have distanced ourselves from that thing that was done by that candidate. So there's nothing that is going to distract us or defocus us. We are intact.
But it's not only the expulsion of that candidate. You also have an issue in Gauteng, for instance, where your chairperson has decided to defect and go to the ANC.
Who's that chairperson in Gauteng? We don't have a
in the Gauteng legislature. The leader of the EFF in the legislature has decided to defect and has decided to join the ANC.
I think you are making a mistake. You mean here in Limpopo, not in Gauteng. Gauteng, the acting chair is Mandisa Mashego. She's still there and she's also here in this rally. So if you are referring to this guy here from Limpopo, we are not worried at all because that guy was not even effective. He was lazy. He was nowhere here in the Limpopo. So there is no dent, there is nothing. So you'll see here, you'll prove it here, Uguti. If that person was very powerful, so these masses will not have come here, but you will see that he's not here. He was not even influential, he was lazy, he was not even helping the party. So he's gone, we don't care, we don't feel anything.
So, but you gotta say though, it must be a dent for the party though, considering that it doesn't have a chairperson.
No, we have a deputy chairperson who's going to resume his work. We have a secretary who's very powerful in this province, who is very active, who is putting the province, because to remember the chairpersons of the secretaries of the province are the engines of the organization. So there's nothing, we are not even worried. We didn't even have to worry about him because he was not helping the party. He was nowhere to be found. He was not active, nowhere. He was sleeping at home. Maybe that he knows that he wants to go back to the ANC because that's where he belongs. ANC is the party of the lazy people, not EFF. Here in the EFF, you want activists, you want people who are working because we are still building this organization.
One thing that the commander-in-chief of the EFF has spoken about during the LIST conference as well is that you guys have been receiving calls even from ANC members that want to join the party, who want to become candidates of the party, even though they've just defected from the ANC or want to leave the ANC, that they've not made the list.
Remember, what happened in the ANC was the ANC structures nationally was imposing candidates. So many people were sidelined from the ANC. So therefore they saw, because they know that our internal process was very fair. We went to BGAs, we elect our candidates through the processes of the EFF. So now after they rejected because of the factionalism of the ANC, they wanted to come over. So we welcome everyone want to come and join the party, but not on the basis that they have to get position in the EFF. We don't operate like that.
Let's speak August the 3rd for the EFF. Another issue raised by analysts is that the EFF is going into these elections either as a kingmaker or as a game changer. With the EFF, will be considering coalitions. Julius Malema has made it clear that there will be no coalition with the ANC, but with other political parties.
Yes, indeed, the commander-in-chief, because he was articulating our position, there will be no coalition with the ANC because we are fighting this ANC. This ANC is very corrupt, so we can't go to coalition with them. So we can go to coalition to other small political parties because we want to take down the ANC.
But one thing that you have to take into consideration is that if you consider all the other political parties, you have the DA, for instance, and the DA has made it public. During your manifesto launch even, they sent out a message saying that the EFF must never govern. The EFF is violent. The EFF is going to bring violence back to South Africa. Would you be going into a coalition with a party like that?
No, the most important thing is to sit down with them, to make them to understand what that the coalition means. Which means that we have to sit down and draw terms of reference and how are we going to work together in terms of development, in terms of service delivery. It's not that we have to be all the time we have to agree with the DA. We are not going to agree with the DA or any political party's ideology. We have our own ideology. But in terms of working, we are going to sit down and draw the terms of reference on how are we going to work together.
Well, perfect. That is the Deputy Secretary General of the EFF, Hlengiwe Hlophe, speaking about the party's aspirations. And just a quick view of the number of people making their way through here to the stadium at the Peter Mokaba Stadium. Remember that what the EFF wants to do is that they want to fill up the stadium, and they're saying that it is a show of force. And whether, as we've been saying, whether that would translate into votes is something that we'll have to wait and see. Another issue is the issue around, after August the 3rd, would the EFF be willing to go into coalitions, and which parties would it be willing to go into coalitions to, and what would be the terms and conditions of those coalitions. For now, it's back to you guys in studio. Later on, we'll continue with the coverage of the EFF's, of the EFF's final rally, and of course, remember that all-important last speech from the EFF's Commander-in-Chief, Julius Malamba, later on. It's back to you guys in studio.
And that was our reporter Aldrin Sampear coming to us live from the EFF's Tela Tuba final rally taking place at the Peter Mokaba Stadium.